We got the shark in the house. Welcome, Johnny.
There you go,
Richardson.
swimming in the water. Thank you for inviting me. Got to be the
Thanks for
blue
joining
couch
us.
cruising through. I like it. Thank you. I'm excited.
So you are one that I know that likes to invest in himself. Can you tell us a little bit more on how you would approach investing in yourself?
I mean, there's multiple different ways, I believe. When it comes to investing in yourself, obviously where thoughts go as a realtor is coaching techniques and everything else. But I really don't care if you're in lending, if you're in title, if you're a realtor, if you're out there and you're a driving instructor. If you have a bad mindset, none of that's going to work. So I think you always have to be investing in yourself as far as the mindset goes. Everybody out there knows I do 75 hard, and a lot of people assume most of it's for a physical challenge, which you obviously are going to have that come into play. But a large part of it is going to be the mental challenge of it during that point. One is you're reading 10 pages self-development a day. So that's on average one book a month that you're going to go through. And while you're doing that and you're going towards battles, kind of like what you do as a realtor, to be honest. I mean, inspections, clients, people upset, the list goes on. You're adjusting your body and your mindset to take things that are not comfortable at the end of the day. So if you can just redirect yourself to where you're almost comfortable with being uncomfortable and adjusting that mindset, you can take on a lot more than the average person out there. So it's super important. The easiest way to do it is, I mean, books cost nothing. I'll give you one little hack real quick. I was scrolling through social one night, laying in bed, and there was this app, it's called Wise. It popped up and it said, stop scrolling through social and download Wise. And what they do is they'll take books and they shorten them. And they'll put it into like 7 chapters, for example. On average, I'll see 7 to 10. And they all last about 5 minutes and they do a summary of it. So now, instead of doing that, I'm trying to push myself away from being just too much of a consumer at nighttime. You get bored laying, trying to fall asleep kind of thing. Is I'll put that on and I'll go through 3 books in a night sometimes.
Oh, wow.
And I'm feeding myself as far as self-development, just some of the things that I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about mentorship.
Okay.
For those people who may be new to everything you do on social media, or they're meeting you for the first time, what was something that a mentor told you to kind of get you kickstarted into business to be successful like you are today?
I mean, there's so many nuggets out there. And when I first got into real estate, I ended up spending a lot of time in the influencer circle versus the real estate circle. And the first brokerage I was with, we weren't exposed to, Vegas young professionals and going down and events and the Red event and everything. I didn't even know it was even there. My first time I was like, this exists, is so cool. But
Lots of parties.
Yeah, lots of parties. Yeah, it's all what you make of it. So during that time, I had gone through several mentors and just when I say go through, you're always leveling up at the end of the day. I went to an event where Grant Cardone was speaking and had met Albert Preciado. And when I met Albert Preciado, he's in his first stages of really blowing up. And from Albert, I made the relationship to Bradley, and it just continued flowing from there. And when I met Albert and I met Brad, that's when I realized how powerful social media was number one. And most people in any profession, take realtors out of it, when they're doing something, they want to be perfect. I need to redo this. If you really think about how much time you waste doing that, writing the perfect letter, the perfect text, the perfect video, with how many times you redo it, it goes out. And let's say you redo it 10 times and it goes out and there's 0 response. How much time did you waste? Did it really matter? So one of the things I learned from them in the beginning is don't waste your time in the little details.
Yeah.
Don't do it. Now, obviously, in real estate, there's certain times we need to really cross those T's. But I'm always, when I'm going after business, when I'm going after marketing, when I want to promote myself, I'm not looking for the perfection. I'm looking to get it out there fast and get more of it out there at the end of the day. So just like when you're meeting clients, for example, if you can do 3 events in a night, this may sound crazy to some people, But that's what I would do starting off. I'd be at multiple events a week. You know, the more hands you shake, the more money you make, and making more relationships. Were they perfect sometimes? No, because event number 3, I was exhausted. And I'd show up for a half an hour and at least meet one more person and everything else. So I'd say if there's like one solid nugget in there, stop trying to be perfect. Perfection doesn't even exist. It's really, you know, whatever your perception is of it. And a lot of people out there, they were like, well, I'll get started when I'm perfect. I'll get started when I'm 100% ready. It's really going to take off when I line everything up. Real estate moves so fast. By the time you line it up, we're in a whole different market. And it's not even relevant. It's not relevant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Well, I think also in the content creator world, if you focus on being perfect and looking at it over and over again, I mean, you could be stuck there for hours.
Yeah,
I think what some business owners and realtors fail to understand is that majority of the people that have reached that level of success, they just posted it.
Yeah.
They didn't look at it. They didn't ask. Maybe they hired somebody to do it for them. Like they're just doing the work and they're getting the numbers in.
And you're going to, just like anything in life, you're going to get better. And the only way you're going to get better is if you do more, continue your reps, continue pressing. And then the muscle memory kicks in and then you start getting better and better and better. And it just goes and goes and goes.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember first brokerage I was at, I would come out of the meetings and a friend of mine convinced me, because I was not a like social media guy. It was like silly stuff. That was 2017. She's like, you got to get on. You got to start talking. So I would come out of a weekly meeting and I get market updates and I go in the car and I'd hide in the car and I'd be like, hey, guess what? Vegas is hot, and so is your realtor, Johnny Richardson.
Oh my God.
That was my thing. And I had fun. Nobody could hear me. They're away from the office, and I started getting used to it. None were perfect. If you go deep, you're going to find them. And people still make jokes. They're like, the sexiest realtor ever. And I would say stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, I love
Was that before or after you jumped in the Shark Tank?
It was around that time. It was before, though. When I did this, the jump into the sharks, with the sharks, at that point there, that was probably about 2018-ish. And it was 2017 when I was getting up and getting started. I remember when I went ahead, it was an old friend of mine. He was a lender. And he had a cousin that had just a camera, and we just showed up at a house. We're like, let's just see what's going to happen. And I was like, all right, got an idea, and decided I'm going to jump in the pool in my suit, like not swimsuit, this suit. And I'm going to say, you know, this realtor will do anything to save your deal, including dive with the sharks. Now, I just said that because I thought shark would be cool. I've watched Shark Week forever. I love sharks. I didn't think it was going to turn into I am the shark.
the shark, yeah.
I didn't see it. And I did it. And all of a sudden it went out and I'm going on showings. I remember this one investor looked at me. He's like, you're that guy. You're the shark man. He said something like that. I was like, yeah. And I was like, that's people paying attention. Yes. I was like, I like it. And after years later, during COVID, a friend of mine was a branding expert. They said, we are pressing the shark. Came up with the icon you still see, still use it to this day. And they're like, we're going to press it. And I went ahead and pressed it and it took over. And before you know, I was going to California, Albert's events, and I'm walking in, the room's like, the shark has entered.
I love it.
Yeah. So it was so cool. It was cool.
So for people that are out there watching this, what would you say was like I'm all in on this, to start with the shark, to start with my personal branding, start creating content? And how do you get to the point where you're like constantly doing the reps? Like, what advice would you give to newer or maybe veteran agents that are changing their business plan this year?
So I'd say if you're really dialing in with me, myself, where I found the passion was, it wasn't just like selling houses. I gotta show a house. I always loved, since I was a kid, I wrestled. I loved competition. I love always competing with somebody. I'd always like striving to be better. So I related that as, you know, my career's adjusted, because I was a car guy, timeshare guy. I've been a sales guy because I like the competition. And when I got involved in real estate, and then where my friend, like I had mentioned, got me involved in content, always wanted to be out there and pretty much compete and be in front of people. Like what I would say as far as people out there, as you're building yourself, you have to find something that's going to push you. If you absolutely hate it, it's going to be a tough road. But what about it do you enjoy? There is something in there that you are going to enjoy. Like, for instance, fitness. I'm not the runner. I do it because I have to in certain, like I'm doing Spartan next month.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Heck
so
yeah.
that'll be fun, except for the running.
Is it like 10 miles?
It's a 10K. It's 6 miles.
Okay. 6
Oh,
miles. Still
good
6
luck.
miles.
And I was convinced. I want to do 3. They didn't let me. The group I'm with, they said you're doing 6. But I like the competition. You know, I am dreading in the back of my head. I will not lie to anybody about it. I am dreading that run-in. But to be up there and to go ahead and finish, and then you can end up doing all 3 eventually and collect all 3 Spartan awards as you come across. Like, so let's take, for instance, somebody that happens to be a single mom in real estate and they're kind of shy, but their daughter or son's their biggest cheerleader. I love my mom. And every time you're out there doing something or helping a family or posting content, advertising yourself, your little one's like, that's my mom. Aww. That's the excitement. That's the passion. You're not doing this because you love doing that or you wanted to be out till 8 at night when you want to be home with the family. But when you have something like that little one cheering you on, running and you hugging you, that is your passion. So it's not necessarily that one thing. You got to go deeper than that at the end of the day.
Yeah.
When I was introduced to real estate, I was in timeshare for 6 years. Did great. I could have stayed forever. And 6 years, 30 hours a week, making great money. Really didn't have a complaint, but I was starting to get unfulfilled because I had worked my way up and I'm like, what's next? I remember talking to my mom, walking down Las Vegas Boulevard, still talk to her every day in my life. And she's like, you love to compete. You want to be out there and pressing yourself and doing and just going to the next level constantly. You need to open your eyes. And there was somebody I was friends with that was a lender. They said, you belong in real estate. And I looked at him. I'm like, I did not want to show houses. That sounds silly.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to open the door. Hello, Mr. Robinson. Look at this. This is a kitchen. You know what I mean?
No,
we all know that's a bad way to do it now, but that's where my thought was. But then I was like, you know what? I'm going to go give it a shot. They got in my head. They said, John, you're built for real estate. Do it. I said, worst case scenario, I don't like it. I come back and my spot's waiting for me basically. So I got in and I just started jumping in with that competition and excitement. And I was like, this is awesome. And I loved every part of it. I'm a chatty catty. I love being around people. So that aspect of it, meeting new people, building relationships, I mean, it all tied in. It's not like I need to sell houses, you know what I mean? It's the whole other features of the business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So somebody's got to find what that is. You know what I mean? They got to find it. Whatever you're building, whatever you're doing out there, somebody either has a story or they have a passion behind it that gets them up out of bed every day.
Yeah. I think sometimes in this industry, people think that you just have to do what someone else is doing, but a lot of the time it's what works for you, right? Like when there's 5 agents in the room, it may have different ways that they generate business or different ways that they run their business, or maybe they're a team or they're a solo person. Like it's not always going to be the same and it doesn't always work for you. So I always think that that's interesting.
Yeah. I mean, of course you could take like the chocolate chip cookies and match somebody's recipe. I mean, at the end of the day, where they say really you can feel in food, it's the love. You know what I mean?
Mine aren't that good.
So you're not loving the cookies.
I try. I have friends that are chefs. I came from hospitality. My cookies are not the best.
The cookies
I make great bread.
Oh, okay.
So
That's what they told you.
Yeah, no, I don't make the cookies at my open house. I have
They
someone
showed
for
up
that.
for Christmas. They're like, look at these cookies. Ooh, have you thought about bread?
Well, I want
As
to
far as
hear
that
a
goes.
little bit more about your career and when you were ready to start being a team leader? I know you run a very successful team at your office, and I think some people that may be in a process of starting their first team, or maybe they've been running a team and it's just not finding the right individuals. What can you share with us as far as the way you run your team and, good ways and bad ways maybe to approach that?
I would say as far as when it comes to running a team, I don't think anybody's ever going to be 100% ready. Number one, definitely not. My first go around, I was at my first brokerage. I moved to my second, was recruited over there, and I had some gentlemen start feeding into me, telling me what to do, and I went in and it was horrible. I mean, it was bad. I mean, we're spending $8-9 grand a month on leads. Every meeting, they couldn't figure out their way through a CRM system. I hadn't figured out my coaching technique. It just was a mess. And eventually, I don't know, call it 6 to 8 months, I just had to rip it all down. I went from a single agent, went over, and everybody's like, I'd love to work with you. Now you can build a team. And before you know it, there's like 12, 14 people showing up. And I'm like, let's go.
What do you think that people find most valuable to be in a team?
Well, one is it's going to be as far as accountability. Accountability, it's going to be structure, it's going to be work ethic. Those are missing in a lot of fields out there. They are. Even a sports team, take it for instance, if there's a coach that didn't hold his people accountable, if he didn't have the structure, if he didn't have scheduled practices, if he didn't hold people to even stay after or push them to go to the next level, would they be successful? Probably not, or they'd be average at the end of the day. So what I always found, and this isn't perfect for everybody, and just I am not going to stand here and say I'm even close to your version of perfection. There's always, you're tweaking it, you're making it better, especially in real estate, because our market, take Vegas, number one, we move so fast from one to the next. It's like, okay, here we are. All right, well, this is what it is. As you're doing it, probably the hardest thing you're going to cross, and once again, I'm not perfect at it, but I'm always working towards being a better version of it, is coming in and keeping your chin up no matter what. Because if you want to run an operation, you want to run a team, guess what? You're going to be having conversations with folks that have had marriage things going on, things with their kids, things with the clients, things with inspections, a realtor that mistreated them, somebody hit their car, they drank too much the night before. I mean, the list goes on. And then you got to sell real estate on top of that.
Yeah.
So, and every once in a while you sell a house. But out of all seriousness, if you want to say things that are going to help stability, look at foundation of any team. Because anytime I've worked on anything in real estate and I said I want to see success, there's businesses that are doing something very similar. And if you take those, it doesn't matter if it's title, it doesn't matter if it's life insurance. A lot of them are very interchangeable. What does the foundation look like? What does that look like? How do they hold their meetings? How do they hold their people accountable? How do they provide excitement for while people are there? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think we try and overthink it sometimes. What's that one secret thing that's going to make this a dynamite team? Somebody has a secret. No, it's consistency. That is probably the biggest that people overlook. It's being consistent with those items.
Agreed. I think one of the reasons I got into real estate is that it's never the same day.
Oh, no.
Different clients, different people, different agents, and it's kind of exciting.
And if it was the same, people would probably stop showing up anyway.
Yeah, right.
Like, this is boring. It's the truth.
Yeah.
It is the truth. It definitely is.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, Johnny.
This is amazing.
We're looking
Yes.
forward to hearing you at the panel on March
you.
13th.
Absolutely.
At 1 p.m.
We'll see you soon, and we'll see you at the panel. Make sure you make it. We got VIP in the front row.
Ooh.
A little special gift for the young ladies when you show up.
Yes.
Okay. We'll see
See
you
you
then.
there. Thank you.
Bye.